a lot of the concessions that the city were offering or trying to get from us. Biggest one of all, it was the health and welfare that they wanted to be able to essentially have control of, and we don't feel secure in having the city be able to control that situation for us. We have managed it very well. We've been very thrifty and been very cost effective, and what's the word the mayor likes to throw around? Fiduciarily responsible with that, and so we have maintained that ability, continue to do that.
I know when you came out of negotiations, you weren't happy. You said you weren't.
I'm not happy now, and that hasn't changed. My job is to effectually try to get as many gains from my members as possible and try to, affect the parameters that they have in the workplace in a more positive manner for them. It's to try to get more money in their pockets, to bring enlightenment to all the hard work that they do. Those are all responsibilities I'm charged with. So when I don't feel like we've gotten enough, and quite honestly, I'll probably never feel that way, right? Because you could do this and get gains for many a year and still not equate to where it equates to what the hard work of the men and women that serve the city every day put into it. We have so many people, like I think I mentioned before, that are literally able to apply for public services off of the salary that they work for the city. There's a misnomer that our men and women make a ton of money. They do not. Any additional that money they make, they have earned. They work a ton of overtime in areas just to be able to maintain any type of comfort for the city. And so that overtime will be there because the city is deficient with personnel in so many departments. And so that will always be there. You'll always hear from the city that overtime costs are high. Well, overtime costs are high because they don't fill the positions that are necessary to fill. And so you can't have both complaints on both ends that you can't pay wages and that overtime costs are high. So it doesn't really go that way. So, that's my job, and I think I'm always going to be striving to try to make as many gains for our members as possible.
Why take that deal if you say you're still unhappy with it? Why take that deal?
I don't think anybody, well, at least they shouldn't be. I don't think anybody should be happy or sit resting on their laurels based upon what they've done. We did, like I said, if you were to see the list of concessions that the city was trying to get from us, we gave up no concessions in this contract. So that in itself is a win. The raises that we were trying to effectuate for our members, I was trying to get to that 5% plateau. For a lot of our members, they will technically get to that plateau when you include the step increase that they'll see for a fifth step and the 3% that we have for the year. Now, it's not the way or the manner in which I would have liked to have had it, but it was the best that we could do at the time. So you work with what you have and do the best you can during that time. When we started this process, the city was offering no more than 2%. And they were trying to take more away from you than you currently had now. And so we staved that off. We maintained our health and welfare. We got additional protections in the workplace. We got some money in our pocket. Crossing guards have an additional step in pay. They have additional comp time for themselves. We have some folks that work in the medical examiner's office that have step increases that they should have had long ago that we were able to acquire. And so you take the many positives, there's more positives than negatives out of the situations. I think that Philadelphia embraced our members. We thank the city of Philadelphia so much. I think they understood and empathized with what we were all going through. This is the blue collar town where a lot of people just do not make a lot of money. And I think people understand that people are just trying to make gains and do better for themselves and their families. And that's what we were trying to do. We had a lot of support from political figures around the city. We appreciate that. Community groups were out there advocating for us. We've gotten a lot of calls from unions that are now saying, because you guys had the courage to go out there and stand up and go on strike, that we're now in the process of some of those things. Particularly when the atmosphere, when you see the federal government, there really is an all-out attack on workers and working class people across the country. And so you have to make a stand. We haven't had a strike in 39 years, and there was no personal attack or agenda with the mayor personally. It didn't really matter to me who sat in the position of the mayorship. The problem remained the same. And so I'm still disappointed that we weren't able to get additional monies. And I feel like if you can figure out ways to establish housing initiatives and you can figure out ways to do other things, at what point in time are the workers going to be the top priority because you truly can't accomplish anything in this city without making sure you have a workforce to do that work. And so I'm hopeful that even outside of the contract, the CBA is not the end-all be-all. There's other channels that we work with through the city to try to effectuate change for position and increase wages. There's one even currently that's being worked on for custodial workers right now. So, and that's outside of the contract. And unfortunately, there's some of our lowest paid folks, but they were the unsung heroes for a lot of us throughout the pandemic. So we continue to keep moving forward and, express the message to our members that, and like I said, it's a mixed bag from everybody right now. So people are still now just digesting what's been accomplished.
After the details of the deal came out, what did you tell DC 33 members, and are you now recommending that they vote to ratify it, and if so, why?
Well, I'm hopeful that the members recognize that there was an awful lot of work put in this, a lot of hours, and a lot of going back and forth with the city that truthfully I don't think they really were an unwilling dance partner in this entire thing. They kind of laid their ground out, said this is what it is, and kind of, multiple times they kind of like, it's like take it or leave it. And so we kept digging and we kept digging and we kept pushing them. And we were able to get things crossed off of each list, and it was a lot of work, a lot of going back and forth. We had to struggle to keep them in the room with us. And so, we'll let the members do what they do. That's part of the whole process. It's a democratic process. They have the ability to choose yes or no. If the members choose to accept it, then that's fantastic. If the members choose to say no, then we would have to go back to the drawing board and get right back with the city and start working on what we could change to do better.
So there wouldn't be a recommendation from you?
I'm not going to make a recommendation. I'm going to allow the members who put me in a position, their ask of me was to go up, stand up, and fight and try to get as much as we could get out of this. And we did accomplish quite a bit. But if they feel like that it's unsatisfactory to their needs, then they have that voice to be able to say so.
When does the vote happen?
We're working on the details of that now, but it's likely going to be next week.
If the members don't say yes, if they don't ratify it, do you go back on strike?
Potentially. I mean, that potentially could happen. A lot of our members were absolutely steadfast with this whole situation, and I'm very grateful for that because it exposes everyone to put themselves in that position to say that I'm going to not take any wages in at all to stand up for trying to get a better tomorrow than I currently have right now. And I greatly appreciate that, but the potential could be there for that to happen. We would have to see.
Another vote to do that, like another strike
No.
vote? No, it's still under the first one?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Correct.
And what's the majority share that you have to have in order to ratify?
Same as anything else, 51%. So.
How do you think your members felt with Mayor Parker's news conference yesterday? It was very celebratory, and she was handing out,
I don't know what's to celebrate. The same poor people that were poor yesterday are still poor today. The 3% it helps a little, and then if you compound that with a step increase, it helps a little. It doesn't change the true narrative for anybody, to be quite honest. And that's what we were trying to get on the path to do, is to effectuate change for everybody economically, because the gap still is there. All right, and now we're kind of in that same place, even though there were small minor economic gains.
And you also mentioned this morning about, the relationship and kind of mending that relationship, and if it be possible.
My job is to work for the members. Relationship building is not necessarily a part of that situation. I can have a conversation with anyone. It's not my job to have a relationship with them. My job is to advocate and accomplish the list of demands that my members have for me to do. So, as for the mayor, we can have a conversation anytime. That's fine. We don't see eye to eye on many things. So, it's unfortunate that the mayor was trying to lump in certain things in regards to what we accomplished during the extension. I think I've mentioned multiple times that our desire at that time was to get a 4-year deal at that time. So, it's hard to imagine they're going back and trying to lump these things in together that way. I certainly don't, and I'm on the other side of that. So, each thing is its own entity. The circumstances we were in 6 months ago or 7 months ago now are not the same as they are currently. So, housing initiative that you try to wrap into this whole situation, again, I set a program that has parameters by which they can get into the program, they then still have to be able to afford to live in their home once they're in it. And so if you don't make enough money to pay for the utilities or the groceries or the homeowner's insurance, or, you know, and what's the point to the whole process? Because what's going to happen is eventually those folks are not going to be in those homes because they can't afford to maintain it.
I know the city hit you with a lot of injunctions during the strike to force workers back. Was there any talk that they may put out an injunction to force the sanitation workers back?
Sanitation workers are back to work.
But during the strike, before that was a deal breaker?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, the first injunction came 30 seconds after we declared we were going on strike, and then, you know, a bunch of other ones subsequently after that, right? And so, and quite honestly, I stand by it now as I stand by it then. The city just pointed out and made it, you know, made the case for me, to be quite honest, that those folks are absolutely essential to the services of the city, and you know, and we all are, and what they just do not pay people, you know, as they are essential, and so that's what's got to change. We have parameters and factors that we have additional steps in place for different things when you do more than what's beyond the normal scope of what you do. And so we need to create parameters for those types of people that be able to do that. If you're a 911 operator and you're so pivotal, then you should be paid accordingly. And so all the services we provide, I mean, you know, you don't wake up in the morning and the water just magically comes on. It's our people that work around the clock to make sure that happens. It's our folks that, you know, you decide to walk your kids and go to a ballpark somewhere. It's our men and women that are making sure that those parks are clean and usable for families all across Philadelphia. You know, it's our people that when you don't think about what it takes to get something done, it's our people that are the ones that are making that get done. And over these last 8 days, I think a lot of people have a newfound appreciation for that.
Was there anything about the timing that you felt like now was really the time to get this done and bring it to a resolution? Anything else that was?
I mean, I think I always feel the urgency of the moment, right? If you don't take the time to seize what the opportunities you think you may have now, then you'd be missing a boat. So you have to take the bull by the horns anytime you get an opportunity to do something. And so, yeah, the CBA times when they expire are those times. You try to point out all the necessary factors that you need to see change in. And so wages is a huge one for us. But, you know, and also maintaining our own ability to control what we do inside District Council 33, because we feel like we know best what's the best for our membership, because the membership are the ones that put us in the positions to advocate for them. And so, you know, that medical portion was absolutely huge for us. You know, they wanted to add surcharges for smokers, and if we open the door for that, then what? If you're diabetic, are they then going to say we need surcharges for, you know, those types of things? And so we weren't willing to open that box at all. So I think we did a heck of a job trying to, you know, maintaining that situation. So I'm proud of the work that the executive board put in. I'm proud of the members for standing up. I'm proud of Philadelphians for supporting us. But this is not the end of the battle. Yes, we have a ratification coming up for this particular aspect of it, but I hope some Philadelphians continue to support our men and women, despite whether we're going through a contract dispute, you know. So, you know, again, I love this city, and I believe in the spirit of the city, and our men and women exemplify that every day when they go out and do the work that they do every day. And so they're looking to get back to work. Some people were thrilled to get back to work this morning. And so, you know, we have an absolute invested interest in what we do. You know, it's our neighbors, it's our family, it's our friends that we're providing all these services for. And so it's a little different than folks that just walk into an area and have no true vested interest. So we take that to heart.
We talked a little bit about sort of yesterday's news conference with the mayor and sort of how she presented things. She described herself as pro-union and pro-labor. How do you feel about that? She
quotes James Baldwin quite frequently, and, you know, can't believe what you say because we see what you do. You can't say those things and then fight so hard against us with injunctions and fight to not advocate for the same wages that you know where there's a gap economically in this city, right? Where is the same spirit for that to make sure that there's adequate money in the budget to make sure we can cover all the union contracts in place, not just for District Council 33, but our brothers and sisters in District Council 47. They're going through a strike vote right now. Our brothers and sisters in blue and for the firefighters union, and also the FOP, our own workers that work in corrections at Local 159. And so I want to see everybody be able to be adequately paid. It's just not, I'm not selfish to think that it only applies to us. There's so many people that need to be adequately taken care of, you know. We're as biggest city in the country. When are we going to work to change that narrative for people? And so my job is to effectuate that change for my grouping of people, but I hope collectively that the mayor, whoever is in that position as mayor, it doesn't have to be Mayor Parker, whomever is in that position, understands that we need to figure out a way economically to change the status for a lot of our employees in the city. And so that's something that if we can get on that page, and we'll be kindred spirits when it comes to that type of thing like that, but we are just not there right now.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.